The Flesh Cathedral. In the hidden quarter of a city that refused to die, beneath the broken clock tower and behind a veil of rusted iron gates, there stood a place spoken of only by the mad, a cathedral built not from stone, but from the bones and flesh of forgotten gods. Its walls pulsed faintly with something like breath. The air around it wept the scent of burnt roses and old blood. It was said that those who entered seeking salvation found only revelation, and that revelation was a curse worse than death. Of all the city's cursed children, it was only Ezra Vale who dared approach it on the night the moon cracked. He was a man broken twice, once by love and once again by the truth. He walked the alleyways with his coat clinging like a wet second skin, the rain slick and sour with soot. His hands were ink-stained and trembling, not from the cold, but from the visions that had haunted him since he found the book. A nameless tome bound in what felt like human leather, etched in the symbols that writhed when stared at too long. The book had whispered. It had drawn him here. The cathedral's great gate stood ajar, as though welcoming him with the slow exhale of its breath. Ezra stepped inside, and the world bent. Time fractured at the threshold. Shadows no longer obeyed light. The floor beneath him writhed with subtle, muscular contractions. The walls wept softly, bleeding a translucent ichor that shimmered in pale, flickering candlelight. The cathedral was alive, and it remembered. A voice, low and unpeaceable, bloomed in the air. "We have waited, child of forgetting. Come, be known." Ezra moved, compelled not by fear or faith, but by a deeper instinct, the yearning of a man who had nothing left to lose. He passed through corridors lined with faces grown from the walls. They moaned prayers and curses in tongues, both ancient and unborn. Some faces wept. Others screamed, deeper. In a chamber where the ceiling rose into blackness, a figure awaited him. She stood cloaked in writhing veils of flesh, her eyes luminous voids. "You seek truth," she said. "What you call truth is only one skin of reality. Will you wear it?" Ezra, though trembling, nodded. He had come too far, lost too much. What was one more layer to shed? Her hand brushed his face, and suddenly his skin erupted in flame and memory. He saw a world beneath this world, a lattice of hidden pain, of joy inverted and bound in sinew. He saw the cathedral as it was in the before, a temple to gods who fed not on worship, but on honesty. Raw, brutal honesty, the kind that stripped souls bare, and they had been betrayed. Ezra fell, not through space, but through self. He spiraled inward, seeing every sin he had hidden, every lie he had swallowed, and every desire he had choked to death inside his chest. When he awoke, he was kneeling in the nave. Before him, the altar pulsed like a living heart. Above it, crucified upside down in a lattice of bone, hung a figure he knew, his lover, dead 5 years, Ariel, but not as she was. Her body was adorned with barbed symbols, her eyes stitched shut with golden thread. She smiled despite the agony. "I never left," she whispered. Ezra wept. "Why are you here? What did they do to you?" "What we did," she answered. "We who asked for truth and fed the gods with our lies." A wind rose in the cathedral, though there were no windows. It howled with voices, each one speaking Ezra's name. He turned, but there were no people, only shadows wearing human expressions. The veiled woman returned, now changed. Her veils had fallen away, revealing skinless beauty, pure and terrible. "Do you still seek the truth, Ezra Vale? Or do you wish to forget again?" "I don't want lies, not anymore." "Then you will join us. You will become one with the memory of pain." The altar split open. A staircase of ribs and sinew led downward. Ezra looked at Ariel. "Come with me," he said. She shook her head. "This is my place now. Go. Finish what we began." Ezra descended. The cathedral below the cathedral was older, darker. Here the architecture bent reality into spirals and bleeding arches. Here the gods slumbered, great beings of impossible form. Some were 1,000 eyes sewn shut. Others were coiled infinities of muscle and thought. They were chained, their mouths sewn with history, and in the center, a throne of screaming souls. Upon it sat the high betrayer, once a man, now a mass of all his broken promises. Ezra knew him. He was the one who had taught Ezra to lie. His old mentor, the man who taught him that truth was weakness. "You have returned to die," the betrayer said. "No," Ezra replied, "I've returned to remember." Ezra opened the book. Its pages flared with light. Not fire, not magic. Remembrance. The gods screamed as they were unbound. Their mouths burst open with truth. Ezra wept as every lie in the world was burned from existence. The cathedral trembled. The flesh melted from its bones. Light burst from the ground up. Screams became hymns. The gods rose. And Ezra, stripped of all deception, of every mask he'd ever worn, ascended with them. He became their voice, their vessel, their truth. The city above forgot his name. But sometimes on nights when the moon trembles and the wind carries the scent of roses burned black, a whisper passes through the alleys. The cathedral breathes, and Ezra remembers. Thanks for watching. The end.